I heard that you're better now, hiding out in a seaside town. Always knew what I wanted reflected back to me. A life like mine kept me wondering if you're coming back. And I miss you in the winter with the windows down, a dazzling fire and a tarnished crown. Are you coming back? Holding on to you is like holding on to smoke. You're drifting through my fingers every time I think I'm getting close, and I go. You know it all. How you wrapped around my mind. You let me fall. 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 Walls I built all tumble down, barriers of a heart I found, and I want it back. I let you in, kept you company, gave until I couldn't breathe. Do you remember that? Holding on to you is like holding on to smoke. You're drifting through my fingers every time I think I'm getting close, and I fall. You know it all. How I gave you what I had, I gave it all. But you let me fall. You let me fall. You let me fall. You let me fall. You let me fall.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the ESEA season in advance. Might versus Sleepless Gaming here tonight. Again, Sleepless Gaming have had a lot of really big lineups going into the start of their season. I'm very excited for this, for the start of this season. Another big game for Sleepless again tonight against Might, which was also Ponolone's team. It doesn't look like he's playing tonight, but still, it's going to be very, very, very exciting. So Sleepless Gaming definitely have their money cut out for them. Obviously, they put up a good show against both Wanda Goons and Tsunami last week, 13-7, 13-8, respectively. So they still have some ways to go. 2-2 on the season versus Might's 3-1. Going up for this matchup tonight, we're actually going to be moving into Ancient. So Mirage was banned by Might at the very end of this ban phase. So Ancient's obviously one of the more known competitive maps over the last few years, has been one of the biggest played maps in ESEA over the last couple seasons. Not much really more to say about this one other than mid control from elbow is going to be really important for the T side, as well as taking cave presence / catwalk. Having all of that map control will mean so much for the T side, regardless of who it is. And then CT is obviously, you're trying to crunch the map as soon as possible. You're trying to make something work out of it. So obviously there's going to be a little bit of challenge there going into this matchup, and hopefully Sleepless Gaming can pull one over Might. So we get started here for knife round. Obviously, everyone wants to try to win it out, try to get their choice aside. Amount of patience. One-on-one, Jax versus Jared. Ooh, but Jared has the HP. If someone didn't left click, Jared might have died there. Nonetheless, knife round kind of just means who gets a choice aside, and sometimes it may work for you, sometimes it may work against you. It all really depends on how well you trust whichever side you're choosing. Because if you can't trust that, gonna be in a little bit of a pickle later down the line. So Might starting on the CT side, Sleepless Gaming starting on the T side, and it's gonna be a little bit challenging, obviously, for Sleepless Gaming. They're going up against a team who has a lot of experience individually. A lot of these players are also in FPL, so they're very used to these high stress, high intensity situations. So it's up to Sleepless Gaming to really break through their defenses and try to figure out what they're doing. Obviously, seeing the A-main push early on and Snake's down to 31 HP brings out a good start. A slow rotation back towards the B site. Owen's still trying to make noise towards A site here. Eventually gets tapped away by Jared immediately. It also pulled a little bit of rotation up, but slow a ramp presence. Now information spotted. Voltage still trying to go for a tap, not finding anything yet. Louis gonna get the first one into the middle of sight. Cannot find another one. Voltage re-swings, goes back out for Jade. Good for one and only the one. Nova trying to get more damage in. Here comes the flank from Cave, from Jay. Trying to get as much possible as trying to get as much done. As Nova finds himself two. Top Shot taps away from more. And the two of them clean up house in the B site. This round going in the T side's favor is much needed in some of these scenarios. Because the CT economy is harder to break through. And there's so much more that you would have to get done in this scenario. Selecting a force buy from Might. MP9 and upgraded pistols, and they're gonna take it fast towards Cave, try to take that presence. 5-7 out first. Owen gets the better of him. He's still with an MP9, but 60 HP, and made a ton of noise in towards Cave, so that smoke's gonna cover them off for now, and give them a little bit of space to work with so that they're not losing complete control within the first 30 seconds. Sleepless Gaming, they read the situation correctly. They're going to halt the breaks as soon as possible. But they haven't taken much mid-space here, and with the threat of elbow and the red smoke soon to fade, it's going to be a little bit more challenging. He's dodging the flash, close up, gets a first, and only that much. Voltage cannot convert a second. So Owen finds himself a double with that MAC-10, trying to do more. Snake still holding outside the short smoke. Top Shadow spots the arm, cannot find the initial shot. Does eventually get the last frag, as Jax cleans up bottom middle eventually. And so Sleepless Gaming, they don't really give up much of anything. Nova obviously dies with a MAC-10, but Owen gets a trade right back out. So Might don't get the money, and they don't get anything with it. So it's just one kill with an MP9, 600 bucks. And so this is a fantastic start for Sleepless Gaming, because obviously now you know that Might bought into it, and you can safely keep your MAC-10s. You could safely keep your non-upgraded weapons. Ooh, but that nade combo. Owen actually 1Gs. He dies to his own utility in towards Catwalk. That's a massive blunder. But at least Nova's there to try to get some sort of trades. But Snakes also has picked up a MAC-10. Here comes the rush. Nova caught off guard, trying to back off at the wrong time. Topshot's going to try to get more done with an HE. Burn eventually spreads. Snakes down to 2. Barely gets alive. Bomb to soon get planted towards the A site. Louis is still trying to find where Top Shadow is. Eventually does. Opens up a man advantage with MAC-10s. They're going to have a full loadout. Trying to go for this retake, and it is more than doable. Speed against these Galils is going to be the biggest problem. Jade has to win his first fight. Gonna take it right now. Does eventually get the 1. Tries for the spray transfer. Not good. Louise wasn't there at the right time. Snake still not much HP to work with. Jax still on the flank from TT spawn. Trying to swing out for the first. Good on the first. Snakes 2 HP. Trying to find him in the smoke. Gets the knife out. And the money goes his way, as well as Sleepless Gaming not losing the round. And arguably, this is where I'd say losing those MAC-10s, losing those Galils is not the biggest problem in the world. You're going for an upgrade here anyway. The biggest problem is that you gave so many kills away, and then the MAC-10s gave Might so much more money to work with, that now they have an op with full utility and full armor. And so that's what you have to be a little more wary for. Obviously, you're working pretty diligently to try to secure these rounds sooner, try to get in towards the site sooner, but the amount of people you lost to a B push, as well as to your own utility, is just not what you wanted to see. DJ finally spots one out in mid, knows how close they are towards house. Trying his best to stall as soon as possible. And the re-aggression out, Donna, ooh, misses the right timing. Snakes, it doesn't spot out Nova, but he gets crossed entirely. Voltage still here with the AWP, spots the shadows of 1. Good for the first frag. That's on to the bomb as well. Nova's still trying to jiggle peek to try to get past him. Cannot find the shot. Nova eventually gets the main advantage into their favor, trying to get back towards the A site. DJ first contact. Louis cannot convert. Jared finds 1 towards the B site, but he's alone in a 1 versus 3. No kit to his name and only a smoke. Still looking for an entry pick here. Kit down in CT's, right there in front of him in CT. Still able to lurk out towards the A side as soon as possible. Smoke on top of the bomb. Ooh, that's a problem. But there's Nova finding the headshot when it matters. As Sleepless Gaming continue their streak against Might. Voltage able to only find 1 with the AWP in that situation, but getting pressured so quickly, and the rotation not going to be there in time to get him out of that situation. becomes more challenging. And now Jade also finds himself with an op now. Likely picked up from Donut. And with the T's not having to buy an AWP in this situation, your money is just skyrocketing. Fast B main push this time from Might, taking over that map control with the pistols. That gives so much more information that you can only do so much with. But Sleepless Gaming, they're taking this really patiently, trying to figure out where Might really have gone, and without any sort of utility across the map and without any contact, you really have to be questioning what type of call Might have been playing with this one. Eventually, smoke starts to rain through. CT and a donut smoke. Voltage still ahead of it. Jax gets dinged, but it manages to find the frag. As DJ's still trying to find anything around that smoke. Tap away through the smoke. A little bit of chip damage on the Shadow. As DJ goes into the red. 5-man defense for Sleepless Gaming on the A site. And everyone playing for exit frags on Might. And if you don't know Ancient has a relatively large bomb radius. Jax may be looking like a dead man in this situation unless they can find the A main frags here. Here they come. Louise still crouched. Eventually takes the first bite. Snakes and Louise have the crossfire. Good for 2 so far. Deagle can't find anything more. Still getting the chip damage. Top Shadow and Jade go down. Nova's still here on the other side. Cleans up 2 and manages to deny any guns from Might, as well as recovering the op for Jade. So despite the losses that Sleepless Gaming faced going in for those exit frags, Nova still cleans up the last 2 right at the last second. It still gets away with Mike getting nothing out of that round. Still max loss bonus to their names. Op and full M4 buys to come out from Mike. And a lot of utility to go down right off the start of the round. Boost on top of the box, also taken out by Voltage. The man advantage finally goes in the way of Might at the start. Still trying to reaggress through Cave. Owen trying to find any sort of early contact. Op still there on the other side. If Owen found the initial shot, that would have been a completely different story. Still a minute on the clock. The bomb already leaning towards the B site. You have to find 2 of these players just to equalize the score. With Jax lurking towards the middle here, the push towards B is going to be very wary. If there's anyone that needs to be a playmaker, it would have to be him in this situation. That time quickly dwindling. And DJ reaggressing through mid, not going to spot anything in elbow. Jax may just have a great timing if he peeks at that moment. The Top Shadow is going to be able to hold on tightly. Oh no! And DJ turns around. Jax isn't able to find the kill. Nova's left in a 1 versus 5 to try to clean up at least 1 kill in this situation. But Voltage is still here in the middle of sight, holding on to ramp, unscopes, good for the first, finds himself a double, trying to go for that plant as soon as possible, and is actually going to be given it. And so now Sleepless Gaming get a little bit more money to their pockets as Owen and Jax both need it in this situation. Op still down in the middle of sight. And might just want to go together on this. Planted default with plenty of smokes left to work with. They're just going to smoke on top of the bomb. Not much more you can do in this situation. If you're Nova, I would just be saving that AK when you can. Does find himself a 3rd kill. And that 10-second defuse is taking its time. Eventually going to be secured by Might. Nova finds himself 4 frags in the round. What a cleanup from him. 13-3 for him so far in this map. He is having a whale of a game. Profits going his way. Bomb plan and 4 kills means everything to this team. Exactly what you wanted in this situation, and it's gonna be very, very profitable. Early mid-utility and the fast A main rush coming out from Sleepless Gaming. Trying not to get flashed on their way in. Snakes can't find the shot around the flashes in the smoke. Top Shutter gets the early entry frag. DJ trying to find the spam through the smoke, but it's going to be a counter spam as Jade finds him. Still coming through CT and Donut. Jared gets double smoked off, having to recover the M4. They really can't do much going into this round unless Voltage can find a frag, but Top Shadow nades Jade. Okay. I'm very interested to find out what happened. And that's definitely going to be a question I'm going to ask. But the bomb site secured for Sleepless Gaming, resetting Might again. As they win out a very decisive round on a much needed pace change. We're gonna go into a small technical pause. Not sure if this relates back to the team nade or if this is something else. But if you're Sleepless Gaming, you're feeling great. Might have also been a very strong team going into ESEA Advanced Playoffs last season. I think they were number 8, if I'm not mistaken. So they're a very strong team. And to be up 6-1 on T side of Ancient, which I believe you have remarked in your interviews as not one of your strongest maps, is phenomenal work. You're pulling out all the stops just to secure the rounds. And Nova's putting in the numbers for your team as well. Not missing a single beat. Still, three players survived from Might in that previous round. Obviously, with the 2,900 loss bonus, that's going to prove very helpful going into these next couple rounds. You could probably still buy into another FAMAS and M4. Get yourselves a relatively full buy. As we still go into this tech pause from Snakes being DC'd on the round. Not too much overall success from Might in one-on-one duels. Voltage and Louise being massive threat, especially towards the B site. Locking down the crossfires as much as possible. But overall, we've seen Sleepless Gaming go toe-to-toe with some of the bigger teams right off the start of the ESEA Advanced season. The initial matchups are relatively random at the start of the season. The first 4 typically are, and then everything else goes based off of same score lines for the most part. And going 13-7 against one at Goons and 13-8 versus Tsunami must have been a good wake-up call. It shows that there's some places left to improve, but otherwise that you're still keeping up. that you're still showing the skill. Still in this tech pause for a little bit longer. Actually, I need to check. Nope, they still have 9 people in the server. Snake's still having connection issues. Connected to the server and then disconnected almost immediately. From my point of view, it looks like it was a restart on the computer. So we're just gonna go into its like a small tech pause. I feel like this isn't going to last very long overall, but in regards to the start for the T side, obviously mid control being a huge factor, but away getting into a site and then trying to like lock it down, obviously having enough utility going into the post plant situations, that can mean a whole lot of difference in Ancient because it's not nearly as open going into the pathways towards a site, such as CT spawn, B rip, a main, donuts, temple, like all those different factors will take a little bit more time to or a little bit more time and doesn't have as much space to really get back into. So obviously having Molotov smokes will make all the difference on your T side, and that's something that Sleepless Gaming have been doing relatively decently. Obviously minus a couple rounds that kind of slipped by them mainly. But otherwise, they've shown a fantastic start, locking down several of those kills, making sure they kept several players alive, and that helps them immensely. They boost their economy, and it just keeps them up overall. And the more rounds that you get on your T side, the more pressure that you put against Might, because they chose CT side. So you have to really put it against them to really show that you're a huge threat. Obviously, the tech pause is going to be a little bit more ice in the veins. It's not really what you wanted to see in this situation for Might. So obviously they're getting pressured, and now with more tech problems, sometimes they can play against the mentality, and you have to keep yourself resolute in these situations. Otherwise, you might be shut out pretty quickly, and it hurts sometimes, obviously, because you could do so much better, but if that mentality's gone, then it puts you guys in such a rough position for how you want to play this game, and you don't know how to chalk this one up to, was it mistakes, was it just a series of unfortunate events. But throughout each game, there's always something to learn off of these. There's a learning curve to everything. And I feel like both teams will be able to learn off this. We'll be able to say, hey, here's our strong points, here's our weak points. How do we incorporate them? And the whole 9 yards. But for Sleepless Gaming, obviously, like I said earlier this season, they have a new lineup. They're really still experimenting with what they want to do. And going into an advanced season with 3 new players, like, that can prove to be a little bit difficult because you're still trying to bond mostly new chemistry and try to really recover on so much more that you could have gotten in IM or main, but you're already in a bigger league. You're in advance, so it's going to be a little bit more challenging. Getting back into the game here, Snake's reconnected into the server. They're not going to buy back into anything more. So 6-1 the active score line, and a bit different of a pace change here coming up from Mike. Jared going very fast out cave and catwalk with the M4. Trying to take the first fight. Gets a good amount of damage onto Nova, but immediately taken out by 2 of these players. And the HE is not going to find anything else for now. But look at DJ. He's pushed out of mid back towards T-spawn. Jack, will he be ready here? He does! He pulls out the AK at the right moment and finds out that frag. And with Owen already leaning in towards the A site here, he could take so much space towards Temple and just secure everything that he needs to. And Snakes hears all this rotation information coming through towards the A site. He doesn't know where Owen really is in this situation. Luis does, though. Ooh, finds a second shot with the FODMAS as well to take Jax down. 2-on-3 situation. Snakes up close. Equalizes the scoreline 2-2. Still trying to find more. Voltage finds the op shot into A main. Goes over the smoke. Snake finds Top Shadow. As might deny a bomb plant against Sleepless Gaming. And Snakes played so patiently there with the P250, playing around that tight corner, while Luis finds himself a double kill with that FAMAS. And Owen not taking too much space there, despite having the A site for so long. Proved to be a little bit more challenging, and that op at the right time, peeking in towards A main. It just seemed like a little bit more miscommunication from Sleepless Gaming in that last round. And that's probably what this timeout's about. Your money's looking a bit scarce, and obviously that round went very much towards the wayside right off the rip. Force buying with a few more AKs and a couple Tech 9s. It looks like this is going to try to be a fast mid-take as soon as possible. Voltage missed op shot initially. Sleepless Gaming, they're still being a little bit more timid towards mid, scared of that initial op fight. Eventually that smoke's going to give them a lot of cover to really make their way out and try to figure out where they want to go here. And Might don't have any players towards Donut here. They don't want to give away a free gun too early. And up against the Tech 9s, any close range encounter can be fatal. Voltage. Ooh, if he misses an op shot here, if he gets rushed down by 2, that rifle's as good as gone. Jax, what an opening from him in towards the A site. Op gets off position. Jax finds himself a double. Op comes through for another frag. Top Shadow not able to find anything immediately in towards Red Room. Jade still lurking here as Owen finds the frag towards the B site. Here comes the rotation. Jade gets taken out in Red Room. 2-on-2 situation. Molotov to hold them back from CT spawn. Flash good out. But the T side have not made a single step. Luis takes the initial fight, spots both of them out, and a little bit of damage onto Owen. Op left in the situation, trying to isolate the one-on-one. Good for the first, swings out wide, missed op shot. Nova goes out wide, trying to find the shot, but he's playing way too passively. Has to recover an AK with more ammo. As Voltage pulls out a nade at the wrong moment. Nova gets away with it. Op recovered. Sleepless Gaming on 7. Again, with 2 Tech 9s and 4 AKs, they had barely any utility to work with. And Nova still puts up a triple kill in the round. Denying any momentum from Might to try to continue their lead. A very scuffed buy for Might here. MP9, 2 M4s, and an op in hand. I want to play with a little bit more utility and what they may deserve. And here comes Sleepless Gaming, taking all that mid space, trying to take it towards Donut. A mate hears all this information. Snake's gonna play this one really passively, as Voltage is still here with the op on the other angle. But here's Jax, finds the initial shot. Voltage is pressured, cannot get anything done. Top Shadow's trying to find more with that Mac 10 up close. Good for the frag and an upgrade. He's trying to find more with it, does eventually get the frag. Jared's alone on a 1v5, trying to recover any sort of guns, but Sleepless Gaming is all over this round. Jared does hear the information onto Nova, back turned. Not ready for late mid regression. Trying to find more towards a main, tries going for the spray, cannot find it. Jade quickly shuts that one down, denying any sort of save. Not much more money to work with in this round. Looking like a 9-2 scoreline potentially, but we all know that pistols can be exceptionally dangerous. And especially on a map like Ancient, where you're taking a lot more close encounter fights. Unless a mid stack were to come through. A mid nade stack were to come through. It's gonna be a little bit challenging. Ooh, a nade lands right next to Top Shadow, but it was right on the other side of the door, so it deals no damage. Always very interesting to see. Hanging around. Althoff actually good onto Jared, having to swing out wide around that. Owen hears that information, so he gets the chip damage away. Another HE good onto Voltage, down to 50. Owen's utility here towards Cave has actually been near perfect. He's going to back off that angle for now. Obviously, hearing that smoke's going to give him more information to work off of. But DJ looks like he wants to reaggress towards mid here. Trying to take that information back. Turned on one. Does eventually find the first. Jade goes down to 18 HP as well. Pressure towards the A site. Snakes hears all of this. Wonders where the first guy is. Gets the first. Jack finds the trade immediately. Two mid players here gonna get flanked by Top Shadow. Good for the first. CT also falls. Jared has an AK in the situation, but cannot get anything more done. Sleepless Gaming, they get up to 9 again. Plenty of money to work with. They still have to really get the rounds in. Nova 16-6 on the half. Jax making his way up to 12-5. It's a very good start from all of Sleepless Gaming. No one really falling too far behind. The Voltage is here with the AWP, proving his impact time and time again. So long as you can isolate those one-on-ones, you'll be in a much better spot. But Jade's here to take away any sort of backup. Trying to shut down those early frags. Owen close up into Donut. Voltage also here with an AWP. Missed shot! Too far to the left as Owen's going to take his way towards the A site. Rotation's already called. Back turn for Snakes. He finds the opening frag. Now, Sleepless Gaming, they do have an open B site for the taking. Jared's already waiting. Back long here. Jax, what a shot from him. Immediately finds Jared out. Louise still trying anything from CT spawn. Completely alone with his A1S. Trying to get anything done. Close up on the angle. Nova finds the shot. Snakes alone. 1-on-3. Try to get more done as soon as possible. Information well known. Trying to break through that smoke as soon as possible. Cannot in time. Nova still finds the last frag. 18-6 is his scoreline. Fantastic stuff from Sleepless Gaming as they move 10-2 in the first half of Ancient. Absolutely amazing stuff. Might still trying to find the answer against Sleepless Gaming. Looking to do a late mid stack with their only T smoke being dropped towards the B site to fake a B main push, but they only hear Louise. They don't hear anything else. And this is where the information game becomes pretty strong. Sleepless Gaming have a right idea that it's not actually B. Top Shot is here with dualies close up onto his donut encounter, but eventually goes down to the close range Glock tap. Owen still finds one at long range. Good for a second one as well. Nova's clearing up mid as much as possible. Cannot find the kill. Louise goes down to 6 HP. And a much doable round from Sleepless Gaming. 2 players with armor, no kits. But with full HP, it's going to be very difficult for Might. That P250, one-shot headshot, and that close encounter. Jax does eventually go down. Jade alone cannot get it done as Snakes eventually takes him down. So Might win out the pistol round. Much needed from them in order to try to get back in towards this game. Obviously, the situation being dire for them. That pistol round nets them the money. Nets them the opportunity to try to make a spiral out of this. And for those of you that haven't watched the start of IEM Melbourne, we saw Complexity versus... what was it? Was it Virtus Pro? Or, I don't remember exactly, but in that game, on Ancient, it went from 2-11 to an overtime game. You can never count these rounds out. You can never count these teams out, despite the round deficit, despite the kill difference. Might have the right idea for this round, obviously taking towards the B site with an A stack from Sleepless Gaming. Obviously, they want the kills here. They want to try to find anything with these MAC-10s. And once that bomb goes down, Sleepless Gaming are going to try to go for the exit frags with the pistols here, trying to go back towards T-spawn. And I believe this is the right call. Eventually taking that first fight into voltage. Now the information spotted. Smoke to go down as well to cover their tracks. Here comes the mid re-aggression. Here they come with the USPs. Blinding himself off that situation. DJ trying to recover as much as possible with the MAC-10s. Tap away. Jade not able to find any shots just yet. Eventually going down to the P250. So the money's still there for DJ. As Sleepless Gaming, they had a convincing way to play around those USPs. Obviously, too many missed shots from Jade to try to recover at least some sort of damage. Try to recover a MAC-10 as well. But not the worst situation, in my opinion. Obviously, it could have been a lot better. But here they come. Full buy this time around. Still against these MAC-10s in towards middle. Louise completely blind, trying to take a fight with the MAC-10s. The Molotovs also to surround him in that situation. As Might start to take over towards the A site. Owen throws a lurk smoke out in the middle of sight. That can actually almost net a bomb plant, but Jackson flashed off the one-way angle. Gets a lot of damage in as Owen also finds a tap away through the smoke. Jade does eventually find one frag. Jared to try to go for a save plant towards Donut, but he doesn't have much HP, and here comes the re-aggression in towards CT spawn. Owen does eventually get the frag out of Temple. It's all down to DJ, left in 1 versus 3, having to play around these smokes as soon as possible, but Sleepless Gaming have been putting the pedal to the metal in this round, and eventually Top Shadow finds the spray. Sleepless Gaming want to deny any sort of momentum. They want to shut this game down as soon as possible, and this proves it. They could have played for the post plant. They could have played the retake. But as soon as they had all their players towards CT spawn, they wanted to put the gas right in and just send it. And that's exactly what they did. And that's exactly what Might weren't ready for. Despite having the MAC-10, despite having the weaponry to counter the pushes, to play the close range. And so again, a dire situation. Obviously, limited guns, limited utility. So the mid space goes their way for now. Obviously, Jack's playing a little bit more passively towards Donut here. The moment that you get pressured against the Tech 9s, ooh, Louise did spot that. So did Jack. So there's the information of one close to Red Room. Owen's also trying to spot one out. Jared does find Jax in the middle of Donut, but look at this timing. DJ has walked past Jade. Neither of them know exactly where each other are. Flash is also thrown. Jade still hasn't turned around. DJ may get out in towards the middle of A site, and they have no idea. Jade still is letting this all happen with that MP9. The timing is still not there. Nobody has taken this fight immediately. Eventually, Jade gets the frag. What a clusterfuck. Pardon my language, but that is a disaster that nobody turned around for the longest period of time. Might still win out the round, getting towards the A side almost cleanly. 11-5 is the scoreline. Plenty of money to build up with those saved rifles. But there's so much to say about that round, and there's so many different ways that could have been played out. Nonetheless, a few saved guns for Sleepless Gaming. Maybe buying back into this one. Looks like it is MP9s with more utility to their name. And this is the type of call that I actually respect, because obviously having more utility to their names can actually prove very fruitful on the CT side. Maybe try to stop any sort of push. And it looks like they're trying to take really fast cave aggression here. Nova goes out for the first frag. Cannot find it, though. Owen's still trying with that MP9. Good on the first frag in towards bottom middle. And here's the pressure. Snake's already getting a frag. Voltage down to 2 HP. And here comes the ramp progression. Top Shadow finds himself a spray down. DJ alone in middle. 1-on-3 in this encounter. Doesn't get the right timing, but not finding the initial shot onto Top Shadow. Bomb well into CT's favor, right in front of Top Shadow. A full minute on the clock to really assess the situation. Use the Molotov to shut down ramp as soon as possible, and that will actually net you some security. But Top Shadow goes out wide, finishing off the last frag. Sleepless Gaming, 12-5, and Might are not in a good spot. They had 2 players with 4K, but they had 3 players not even scratching 3K. The Tech 9s having to roar. The Mac 10 as well. You have to get the bomb plant. You have to get this round win. You have to do it as cleanly as possible, because you know that Sleepless Gaming are taking the pace change well into their advantage. And so they're going to try to take B as fast as possible. The rotation already coming through in towards middle. Top Shadow's completely blind, eventually getting overrun. Nova's only good for the 1. Owen already on the flank, good for 1. As Jared's trying to dodge flashes here, Jade finds the frag in towards CT spawn. DJ's running through his own teammates. Molly, good on the frag on Owen. 2-on-2 in this situation. Jax with the only kit. But Jade with that AWP and the smoke to really work with. He can smoke off the bomb so long as he stays alive in this situation. But trying to piece together these frags. DJ alone, 1-on-2. Molly backwards. Jade finds the frag. Sleepless Gaming win it out 13-5 against Might in a very, very clean fashion. What a game coming out from Sleepless Gaming. This was exactly the vote of confidence that they needed. Despite facing another strong team right off the start of this season, they put together the frags, they put together the strats on their T side, and they put a massive number. 10-2 in the first half. Nova 19-10 at the end of the game with 109 ADR. This was a fantastic showing from Sleepless Gaming. This is exactly what they wanted in this situation, and I loved every second of it. Like, it was perfect from what we saw. Like, obviously, they still had a good showing over the last couple of games, but this was exceptional work from them. Obviously, each and every one of them didn't falter. Like, Owen's still picking it up 11-14, Jack 16-11, Top Shot of 16-8. No one on that team had any sort of problems going up in this matchup. I feel like they just had Mite's number right down to the T. And this was really good showing. Obviously, CT side, they put the pace change together. They knew what Mite were trying to do. Obviously, playing a little bit more passive, and this was what they needed. And I feel like everything just went their way. They had everything they wanted in this situation, and ultimately those rounds came together very, very quickly. And so I just got to say, well played to Sleepless Gaming. This was exactly what they needed going into, especially still the start of the ESEA season. And as I said earlier in the stream, there's a lot more bumpy roads in ESEA Advanced with a new lineup, 3 new players added to their main roster. So they still have work to do as a team, and obviously in a high-level environment, it puts so much pressure on them. But they are still showing that despite that, they know how to work together as a cohesive unit. And as time goes on, they're only going to get a ton more stronger. And so this is obviously the case in point. This is what they wanted and what they needed. And it goes to show that they pose a massive threat going into this season. Post-game interview. Owen, how are you tonight?
I am so fucking stoked. Me and the boys screaming our heads off there.
I imagine. Obviously, you had another anticipated game going up against Mite. These last 3 games have put pressure on you guys immensely. But each and every game, you still put the numbers in, you still put the rounds in. But this one in particular felt like a sweep from you guys. It felt like you guys had everything right down to the T. You played your T rounds properly, getting in towards the site, locking it down, and making sure that your pace changes were noticeable. Like, I feel like you guys had everything where you wanted this time.
Yeah, I did a lot of pugging and aim training this weekend, and for whatever reason, during my ancient pug, something clicked. Where I don't know, I feel like I understand the map a little more intuitively now. So we had some scrims last night where we actually 12-0'd the other team on T side, and the only round we lost today on T side, we kind of threw. We were 4v3. All we needed to do was smoke donut instead of trying to fight for it. We just got a little nervous, but like 10-2 T half, absolutely killer, and then lost the pistol. But I mean,
you recovered
made it quick.
You recovered it the moment that you
felt
got
like we were
round.
winning the whole time. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Obviously, having an 8-round lead was a very commanding start. Obviously, you guys were feeling good. Mite were under serious pressure, and one thing to mainly note is, despite obviously some minor mistakes here and there, or some team nades especially, it just felt like you guys weren't being brought down by those mistakes, and that you were trying to capitalize off of everything afterwards. And would you say that this was something that, as an IGL, that you had to, or not, actually, I should more preface, was this something as a team that you guys learned altogether from those last couple games, that despite those mistakes, you can't let those set you back too far?
Yeah, I think we have a little more reps, and I've seen the ball go in the net a little more to just have a little more confidence in the things we're doing, not just to know that we're doing them right, but not just to know that we're doing the right things, but we're doing them at a good level as well.
Right.
Excuse me. So it feels like for me, with understanding the map, I'm able to make calls a little clearer and have a better idea of what I want to do and things that are good. And I think also the boys are kind of used to their spots. And if I tell them I need them to start taking some space or looking for kills, they're pretty good at doing it effectively. So it just makes my life a lot easier when we had running out. Jax just walked out and killed 2 guys. doesn't matter what I call it. If he's gonna do that, like we're gonna have some killer rounds.
Yeah, and obviously we saw a lot of aim duels completely being won out by Nova and Jax, especially Top Shadow, also proving numbers
Oh yeah,
towards the end of the first half and the second half. It seemed like you guys just were really on top of it this time around, individually, especially where you trusted yourselves, especially into this matchup, and were able to really prove your standing.
yeah. There was one call after we had done our A hit where I wanted to keep the pressure on at A, and because they had saved three guys, I knew that they had just a full buy because they had the loss bonus. So
Mm-hmm.
rather than just trying to do a default where we just let the util go out, I decided, we throw some A pressure, make them scared of getting hit on A again like they did last time,
Mm-hmm.
and then we ended up hitting B pretty quick off of it. So yeah, the boys trusted me, doing some stuff that we hadn't done before, and they were executing on it too. So I mean, it was just it's not like the things we're doing are that crazy, but we're some things you're organized on the fly, and
Mm-hmm.
it comes down to execution. That's on the guys.
Right, yeah, and execution means everything. Obviously, uh you have to be able to properly use your utility, manage to find opening frags and, find the headshots, which you guys were masterfully doing today, especially Jax and Top Shadow, both of which had over a 50% headshot ratio towards the end of that game there. It seemed like you guys had everything you wanted in that situation, and um I guess despite some despite the setbacks, despite some uh obviously difficult situations where you didn't have as many guns as you wanted to, it seemed like you guys were right in the position you wanted.
Yeah, I mean, we first game of the season against, my God, we've had some
Mm-hmm.
crazy matchups, and we played better and better each game. Obviously,
Absolutely.
this one being the best, and they are different maps, but
Yeah.
uh, the first one it felt like we were kind of behind and fighting from behind the whole time, but the other one it felt like we had the lead, and then we kind of messed it up, but like we felt like we could win it. So it's just like a nice progression of like we're playing these really strong teams where most people on the outside would maybe rightfully expect us to lose to all of them, but like not only did we not lose to all of them, like we got better with each game. Like the trajectory is there.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And obviously, it might be a huge vote of confidence also. Like, take not just taking out the strong teams, but completely outplaying and out aiming a lot of FPL players individually. Like,
Yep.
it obviously boosts your confidence and boosts your morale as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, uh the boys are playing hot, and I think part of that is um just them being such good players individually, and then the other part is like I said, like kind of just getting used to things. Like yeah, I said it in the past interviews. When we're all firing and if we have our stuff down, like we can really play with any of these guys, and I think we undoubtedly proved that tonight. And I
Mm-hmm.
think we'll have a bit of a bigger target on our back, or at least people will probably look at us a little different now when they see that they're scheduled against us.
Right, yeah, obviously. Because the more rounds that you really prove, the more that it it kind of puts the pressure right at the very end uh for these teams to say, hey, if this team is in playoffs, we also have to make sure that we're on our A game because nothing can be more important in this matchup. But
Yeah, I'm stoked.
nonetheless, obviously, you had a very difficult start to the season because, as I said before, and as you overheard, um, you guys had to pick up three new players for this season, so you're working with a brand new lineup right into advanced. It's a high level scenario to really be into, and you're getting you're getting pressure, or you're getting started against some of the strong teams in playoffs. So right off the bat, your test has begun, and it wants to really show, I guess, your individual skills and how quickly you can adapt as a team. But do you think that this was a blessing in disguise?
Um, I would like to believe that it's just a result of the hard work and the intentional way in which we've done and planned our practices, like what maps we've worked on, um, things that we need to drill down on the different maps. Like when you start over from the basics, you're just going to be bad at first,
Hmm.
because not everyone's comfortable and they don't get to like show themselves as individuals. So like something at the beginning of the season that I noticed was for me as a caller, I felt like I wasn't getting Jax involved in the game enough. So
Right.
him figuring out stuff that he can do on his own, as well as like me just getting a better understanding of how to connect with the lurker. Like, yeah, it's just like putting in the work, and we're seeing the results. So, uh, I'm I don't think it's a fluke. So I don't think it's a blessing. I think it just goes to show that we're doing the right stuff.
Right. And obviously, hopefully, or maybe not hopefully, you'll see uh, a little bit more easier matchups, so to speak, going towards the mid to late part of the ESEA advanced season. But your next matchup against locally hated, any initial thoughts going into that one on Wednesday?
We've scrimmed them a few times, and I'm pretty sure we win most of them. So, not to say that I'm not worried about it or anything. We're gonna have to show up and play, but if we can beat Might, we shouldn't put the pressure on ourselves that we have to beat every team that is in a playoff team now that we've beaten one time. Like, all these teams have players that can shoot back, and so we still just got to do the same stuff that we did to beat them. And yeah,
Of
uh,
course.
not not underestimate our opponents the way that these last two teams have probably underestimated us, because we know what can happen if you do that.
Of course, of course. But yeah, I gotta say, I was very excited for this matchup, and you guys did not disappoint. Right up
Heck yeah.
until right up until the very end, you guys in, always continue to impress me, and this was exactly what we need to see for this season. Obviously, you guys still move up to 3-2 on the season, and you have 9 more matches to play through. So you got a lot more to trek through, and we're very excited to see how the rest of the season goes.
Oh yeah. I'm stoked. All the boys are stoked. It's gonna be
Absolutely,
fun.
absolutely. Again, thank you, Mr. Owen, for coming on to the stream again tonight, and again, thank you to Sleepless Gaming and Top Shadow for letting me stream and cast here. Always a blessing in disguise. But I'm your main caster, Storm. Thank you again for tuning in with us tonight, and we'll see you on Wednesday. Good night, everybody.